Hello everyone, Zane here, and today we'll be making another character requested on my sixfanarts challenge from my Facebook page by a friend of mine, Teen Masbate. I actually probably wouldn't have watched the anime if not for this request, so I'm thankful for my friend for requesting it. The character we will be making is the amazing teacher, Koro-sensei, from the manga or anime Assassination classroom. So before we proceed, just a quick note, list of materials and tools are always in the description. Links to the facts page, my shop, and other socials are in the description as well, or you may also simply scan this QR code. I will no longer entertain questions in the comment section below that were already answered in the facts page, so be sure to check that first, okay? I try to update that as much as I can. With that out of the way, let's start. To start off, I wanted the head to be light so that it wouldn't be too heavy and make the whole figure unbalanced, so I used some aluminum foil as a filler. I just made a ball out of the foil and then secured that with masking tape. When using fillers, make sure to push the clay very hard as to get the air out from the inside. Any air left inside will deform the clay when it dries, and you don't want that, right? So here's the head now. I did draw a sketch of how I want this character to look like, so I referred to that for the size and proportions. I want it to be about the same size or proportions as the other chibi figures I previously made, so they will look like a set or something. Koro-sensei's eyes are just simple dots, so I made indentations on the head to indicate where I want the eyes to be using the dotting tool, which is now listed on my shop. I'm destashing it because I barely use it, and I'm now using a set of dotting tools with different shapes and sizes, which I also have available on my shop, so do check that out if you need it. I also used it for lining where I want the mouth to be. I cut out the mouth using a craft knife and then switched to a plastic knife tool to clean out the cut. I added the teeth with white clay by inserting it on the mouth space that I cut off earlier, and then added divisions using the plastic knife. I added the eyes using black clay. Here's how the head looks right now. I'm not really liking its shape. It feels a little awkward when looking at it on the side, so I'll probably make adjustments to that later. To make the graduation cap, I got black clay and cut it into a square first. Then I made the sides a little rounded by slightly rolling it with my fingers. I slowly shaped out the bottom part of the cap by repeating the process of rolling it with my fingers and flattening the top with an acrylic block. For the top part, I simply flattened the clay thin enough and then cut it into a square. I cleaned off the edges and stick it together with the head. I drew outlines on the mouth using paint because I think it looks weird without it. Not super satisfied with how it turned out though. I think it could be a lot cleaner, but that will do. I also added a small white dot for the reflection on the eyes. Koro-sensei's body is a little tricky. Well, for one, his body isn't human, or at least I'm not making his human form. Then he also got tentacles, which connects to the body. I figured it'll be easier if I separate it into parts, so I'm making the upper part and tentacles separately. What I'm showing right now is actually my second attempt at making the body. I'll show you the first one later so you can see how terrible it was. For the upper part, I simply make a half round oblong. For the tentacles, I think it will look better if the ends are bigger, so I rolled it with an acrylic block in an angle. I did the same for the other 9 tentacles and just made sure they're the same size. I honestly don't know if 10 is the right number of his tentacle feet, but I just assumed it based on this reference that I'm using. Sticking the tentacles to the body was a little tricky though. So I decided to stick the first 3 tentacles together first on one side, then stick another 3 tentacles on the opposite side so I can adjust the height based on that. I also inserted aluminum wire on the top of each tentacle for support, but honestly I think I wasn't really doing this wire support thing completely right at this time. Then I secured and strengthened the connection by putting clay on top of it and then smooth it out with water. I didn't really bother making it look super clean since it will be covered by Koro-sensei's clothing later. And here's my first attempt at making the body. It looks ridiculous and ew, right? I made the tentacles here a little too thin and just a straight line, which is boring. I had to cut the lower half to add the rounded ends, but that meant the connections on the legs aren't too strong. I actually had to stop and think it over if I wanted to remake it or not, and obviously I did redo it from scratch. And I'm actually thankful that I did. You know, sometimes you just have to accept that you can always fix something and that you have to go back from the start and do it all over again, you know? So yeah, life lessons. I switched mats here, if you noticed. My clay kept sticking on the cutting mat whenever I flattened the clay on it, and it's giving me a hard time, you know. So here, I'm just using a cake board. This was around the same time I made the corn silog video, so yeah, it was that long ago. It worked for some time, but after getting used again and again, the scratches started to texture the clay too. So I had to switch again with the brown cardboard from the cake box, which I used in the Jack Skellington video. So yeah, you don't really need to buy silicone mats or whatever, but I mean, it's still better if you have that, in my opinion. But if you don't have budget, then you can definitely just use cake boards or even plastic surfaces like folders or something, because that will also work. So this is also the second time I'm making the clothes since I already added clothes to that hideous first attempt body that I made. I've only decided to watch the anime after finishing this work in progress. After I learned the story, I actually like Koro-sensei's character, which is probably the biggest factor why I was convinced to redo the body from scratch. I need to give him justice. Anyway, I started with the red clothing. The body is completely dry here, by the way, so that it won't get deformed when I add the clothes. I flattened the clay with an acrylic rolling pin. Then I cut a circle using a DIY circle cutter. It's made out of a PET plastic bottle, which I cut and glued with super glue. I still don't have the budget to buy circle cutters at this time, and I only needed it for this project. But I do have my own cutters now, and I also sell some circle and other shape cutters on my shop now, so do check that out as well if you'd like. Shop link is in the description. Then I use a chibi eye cutter to cut another circle on the center. And here's how it looks now. I fitted the circle onto the body and then cut the excess. Then I'm just cutting a V shape for the front here with a plastic tool. I then added white clay for the white undershirt. Again, I didn't bother making it perfectly clean and smooth since it will be covered by the black coat that Koro-sensei has. For the black coat, I did the same thing that I did with the red clothing. And then I cut a thin strip of clay for the detail on the coat.
Ryan Little.
I leave that for now and let it dry a bit before I add the color part. Koro-sensei's arms are also a set of tentacles, so it's more or less the same process as making the tentacle feet, but now the thinner end will be the wrist and the wider end will be the shoulder part. I'm also basing the arm pose with the reference I got. My thoughts on the story. It's actually been a while since I watched the anime, so there's a lot of things I don't remember about the story. My memory is getting really bad as time goes by. But I do remember liking it to the point where I had to read the manga and watch the live action movie right after watching the anime, just because I want to see more of Koro-sensei. The story was weird yet interesting for me. I'm usually into those kinds of plot where you could more or less expect that the ending will be tragic, and I have to admit, I am a sucker for tragic endings, which is why I loved Assassination Classroom. The ending was just properly executed for me. You know, it broke my heart, but I'm happy that it's so good. There were relatable life lessons as well, and I believed I wanted to screenshot some of them while watching, but unfortunately Netflix doesn't allow that, so yeah. What about you? Have you watched the anime or read the manga? I would love to know your thoughts about it, and tell me who's your favorite character in the comments. Now that's slowly coming together, I actually think it will be better if the head would be a bit bigger, right? Like, it would look more chibi-fied that way. But it doesn't look bad right now either, so I kept it. I skipped the sleeves part since, again, I mostly work out of frame because it's too small. I basically just wrapped the black clay around the arms, cut it, and then added the violet stripes on the side. Koro-sensei's palms are just a combination of 3 balls. The connection would be a lot stronger if there's a whole armature connecting the arm to the hand, but I didn't do that here because, again, I don't know how to do a proper armature support thing yet at this time, okay? I just glued them together here. Koro-sensei's fingers are just thin strips with oblong-shaped ends. Using clay for the thin strip part will be too fragile, so I decided to just use wire for that and just paint it over with yellow acrylic paint later. Then glue an oblong clay on the end.
Ryan Little.
I use super glue to connect the clay to the wire, by the way.
Ryan Little.
Again, for the smaller details on the clothing like the white undershirt collar, necktie, moon detail on the necktie, and the tassel on the cap, I worked out of frame so I didn't include them here. I used mini chibi eye colors to make the moon like how I made the moon detail for Sailor Moon. Then for the tassel, I should have also used just the wire, but instead I covered the wire with clay so it's a little thicker than what I wanted. I don't really know why I kept that, you know? But yeah. Anyway, that's it. Our Koro-sensei figure is done.
Ryan Little.
Now I have something to ask you. Do you notice anything with this finished figure? Well, if not, let me tell you. So apparently, someone dropped this or maybe bumped into it so it fell. I don't know, But yeah. Now, Koro-sensei is missing one of his arms, his cap is chipped on 2 sides, and his head got detached. I know, it's frustrating, but yeah. I only noticed the chip on one side of the cap and his detached head before taking this picture. I just took this recently this month, and he was still perfectly fine last July, as you can see in this video. Then I just noticed the missing arm until before the day I was supposed to edit this into the video. So yeah, I thought it's fine, I thought it's good, but it's not, so yeah. I figured I should mention it here so that you'll know how important it is to make the support armature properly, as this may happen if you don't. So again, I still don't know how to make a proper armature support thing when I made this, and now this happened. So yeah. Though I have to say, all of this didn't happen with just one fall. He already fell from various heights a couple of times before, where he managed to survive. He's completely fine. So, I'm thinking maybe some force was involved in the accident where he lost his arm. So, yeah, I don't really know what happened. I don't know who dropped it. But yeah, that's the case. Anyway, I would definitely fix it, but not anytime soon. I'm still pretty busy right now. So, Koro-sensei will have to wait for his arms to grow back, because I don't know where the lost arm is. So I'm gonna have to redo it again and then attach it to his remaining arm. Anyway, I will post an update when I manage to fix him on the community tab of my channel and on my other socials as well. So if you want to see what happens to Koro-sensei, then look forward to that post. Alright, and that's it. I really hate to end it in this kind of mood, but yeah. 2 6fanarts done, 4 more to go. Hope you look forward for the rest. Thank you so much for watching until here. Like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and hit that bell icon to be notified as soon as a new video is up. I hope you take care, stay safe, and stay crafty. Bye!